These men were proud about this though, okay? They were having a whole little giggle. Look who showed up to our party, looking good. 3 months after Amy Winehouse died. Where exactly is the apology? Because that sorry feels like a, I'm sorry you feel that way.
I've never sounded more like a in my life.
Who's your celebrity crush?
Nick Jonas.
And he was really good looking before it was kind of allowed to think he was good looking.
Right.
Which was a bit of a problem. You kind of had to wait till he turned to be
Yes. Yes.
19.
Neil Patrick Harris has been able to get away with his nasty behavior for decades. It took him over 10 years to apologize for what he did to Amy Winehouse, or for him to leave Nick Jonas alone. On top of that, he's had many more terrible moments where he is rude, entitled, and egotistical. This is the dark side of Neil Patrick Harris, so let's get into it. I realized that I don't know much about Neil Patrick Harris personally. I know that he's from How I Met Your Mother, he's a big star on Broadway and in the industry, but I don't know much about his character, so I decided to do a deep dive into some of his most problematic moments. The first one I wanted to start off with is this platter involving Amy Winehouse. Now, Neil once hosted a Halloween party where he had the corpse of Amy Winehouse meat platter just 4 months after the singer had passed away. I'm a huge fan of Amy Winehouse. I love her music and I cannot stand when people disrespect her. The meat platter was shared on Twitter by Jesse Tyler Ferguson's husband, Justin Mikita, who attended the party, and he captioned it, "Look who showed up at Neil Patrick Harris and David Burke's Halloween party last night. Looking good." Okay, so I think we might have to blur this a little bit. Let's not blur it too much, but let's blur it a little bit, at least on the face. What we've got here is a really distasteful tweet from one of Neil's guests. And Neil, I guess that would be a good idea to create this corpse that looks really, honestly, very realistic. I would not want to eat from this thing. It has a cigarette coming out of its mouth. It's got the big Amy Winehouse hair, and it looks like a fairly decomposed body. Like, it literally looks like dead. I'm sure you could tell by the skin color, and it looks like it was dug out the ground. And at this point, people are still mourning her loss.
It's so bad, actually. This Reddit user said, I didn't expect the platter to look so vile. It looks like a rotten autopsy. It has blood, gray skin, and it's missing an eye, her mouth all agape. These men were proud about this though, okay? They were having a whole little giggle. Look who showed up to our party, looking good. But the real kicker about that meat platter, our sweet angel died on July 23rd, 2011. Guess when this meat platter was served. Did you guess it? Right? I already told you on Halloween. What year? That's right, 2011. 3 months after Amy Winehouse died. For reference, this man was 38 years old in 2011. His husband was 37. They have 2 kids together, so they are whole ass fathers. Now, this scandal was relatively completely forgotten until this viral tweet resurfaced it last year.
Now, of course, people were disgusted by this behavior and they called him out. Some people said they would no longer watch series that he's a part of, like Unfortunate Events, the series of Unfortunate Events, which I actually read those books when I was a kid, because he had this at his party. One person writes, literally 4 months after she died, Halloween 2011, I've hated him ever since then. It was the corpse of Amy Winehouse cake, which I'm seeing meat platter, I'm seeing cake. I don't know what it was, but you can Google it if you want to go and see the image for yourself. Another person writes, today I found out that Neil Patrick Harris had a cake made depicting Amy Winehouse a short time after her actual death. I don't know if it's a cake or a meat platter. This article claims it's a meat platter. I don't believe it's a meat platter because it doesn't even look like meat, but it doesn't look like a cake either. Maybe it's just like decoration. Maybe Neil could give us some more information. So he does issue an apology for this. Actually, it looks like he apologized 11 years after the fact in 2012. This article is writing it as a buffet platter, so they don't even really know. He said, a photo recently resurfaced from a Halloween themed party my husband and I hosted 11 years ago, Neil said. Amy Winehouse was once an A Generation talent, and I'm sorry for any hurt this image caused. The image and story surrounding it was resurfacing on Twitter, going viral in 2022, people calling it disturbing and cruel, which it is. But I also want to know, like, what was it? Was it a cake? What was the flavor? One person said, WTF, you can't just apologize for this after knowingly paying someone to make it, approving of it, I'm assuming. Then you've seen it and made space for it on the table for your guests to feast on. You can't apologize just after you got caught, especially 11 years later. You know what's worse than getting injured? Fighting with the insurance company afterwards. They will often stall, delay, and lowball you because their goal is to pay you as little as possible because they are not on your side. That's where Morgan
Morgan & Morgan comes in. They are the largest injury law firm in America, with over 1,000 attorneys and millions of clients served. They've secured billions of dollars for settlements and verdicts, including a $26 million payout in Philadelphia, 40 times more than what the insurance company originally offered. And the best part about Morgan & Morgan is that they don't charge anything up front. There is no consulting fee, there's no hourly rate, there's no hidden cost by going and getting them to help you out. So if you've been hurt in an accident,
Morgan & Morgan has your back if you become their client. You can go to forthepeople.com/Sloan or scan the QR code on the screen to start your claim now. You probably could get it submitted before this video is even over with, and it's not going to hurt to go and figure out how much you are owed. Thank you, Morgan & Morgan, for sponsoring this video, and enjoy.
That's the entire statement. Number one, where exactly is the apology? Because that sorry feels like a, I'm sorry you feel that way. Number two, took zero accountability. And number three, the focus on her talent is really odd to me. As if her not being talented would have made this okay. And then Entertainment Weekly immediately going on to talk about all of the Grammys she won. And of course, earlier in the article referring to this as like an edgy joke. But what is the joke exactly? Because aren't jokes supposed to be funny? And I'm not laughing. In fact, this Reddit user wanted to remind everybody that 2011 was a pretty terrible time for celebrities, specifically in the media's treatment of celebrities with addiction and mental health issues.
Now, this wasn't Neil's lowest moment. He said a few bad moments, like when he was rude to Rachel Bloom on Twitter, tweeting about how she talks, saying, "Who's the woman in the top hat backstage at the Tony Awards?" We remarked that she says like and oh my god a lot. I'm confused. Rachel responded with, "I'm a big fan of yours. We've met numerous times, and my husband Dan Greger wrote for you on How I Met Your Mother for 5 years. Notably, he wrote the episode where your character finally meets his father." Neil then replied, not apologizing at all, saying, "Indeed, well said. Thanks for the reminder. How was the backstage?" It's so weird how he just brushes this off. Also, it's another sentiment to just be nice to everyone, because you never know who's connected to who. And that show was a big part of his career, How I Met Your Mother, so you don't want to disrespect one of those writers. He ended up apologizing to her, but it was just not received too well. One person writes, "Neil, this apology was absolutely unnecessary, and the fact that you were compelled to do it sucks. I don't know or care who she is." Another person writes, "As a human, you should know better. Maybe take a Twitter break if you haven't learned to think before you tweet," which is something a lot of celebrities should have learned a long time ago. Rachel later told GQ that the experience kind of devastated her, especially because she thought Neil was cool, and they actually hung out recently at a Broadway show, and then he just completely forgot who she was. She said the thing he said in the response wasn't really an apology at the time. She actually went on to further address the situation after his apology, saying it wasn't a joke. Basically, I saw that tweet and I was kind of devastated. I was going to tweet, "This makes me sad," but I was like, I don't want to give him that necessarily. She said, "Look, I've met him a couple times, really recently, backstage at a dressing room of a Broadway show. We hung out for a solid 15 minutes with the star of the Broadway show. It's just bizarre to me that it wouldn't ring a bell, and that he wouldn't just Google me."
So what's
Hold on, that's a cleanup on aisle 9. Let me get in there. Yeah, we're all there, and that's what social media does. He was thinking that at the time. He shot it out there, not realizing that she probably follows him, and immediately got an alert that Neil Patrick Harris just mentioned you in a tweet, and it was bad. And I'm sure he felt really bad because it's kind of basically saying she's poorly spoken.
What if she was annoying? Honestly, I'm just being honest. She's wearing a top hat, saying "I'll like backstage." Well, can you not like somebody? So my husband wrote for 5 years. So what? You're still annoying. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. They're backstage at the Tonys. If you can't be demonstrative and over the top at the Tonys, where can you be
I'm
demonstrative?
just saying. Everyone gets all worked up like you have to apologize. You have to apologize. Maybe she's a pain in the butt.
All right.
I don't think she's a pain in the butt.
Listen, if you ever met anybody wearing a top hat, if you don't pull a rabbit out of there, don't talk to me.
I feel like Neil would be a big fan of this guy. I just have that feeling. They're kind of like the mean gays. Now, there was a friend that Neil had. Her name was Mayim, and she actually confessed that her relationship with Neil went sour after she went to go and see him perform in the musical Rent. She is reportedly not a big fan of musicals and wasn't majorly impressed with Neil's performance that day. In fact, everyone but her gave him a standing ovation. And I guess when he looked around and saw that his friend Mayim wasn't standing, clapping, it really upset him. I guess at the time she said, "I don't want to stand for this." Neil could read her lips from the stage and confronted her about it, and Mayim was speechless, which I mean, honestly, I would be too. And I would also be a little bit disappointed my friend came, and like, even if I have some performer friends and I clap still, you know?
I saw Rent. I was friends with Neil Patrick Harris.
Yes.
This is a terrible story. But when your friend is in the play,
Yeah.
and then everybody's clapping at the end, and you say to your boyfriend next to you, I don't want to stand for this. And then you look up and Neil Patrick Harris is looking right at you. It's a bad day.
She said we didn't speak for a long time. He says that he forgave me. He sent me flowers. But honestly, it's kind of cringe how she's like eating it up too. It all kind of reminds me of the New York Broadway scene. It's very competitive. In 2011, Neil Patrick Harris used a slur on television while he was on Live with Kelly. As part of an experiment, he inhaled some sulfur hexafluoride, which sounds terrible, and it deepens your voice. In this segment, he decided to use a slur that's used against trans people, which, again, if he's part of the LGBT community, I mean, there's the T still here.
And a little host chat.
Oh, I gotta tell you. Wow. Luke, I am your father. You don't want to mess with me. Put the lotion in the basket. Put the lotion in the basket.
Okay, we need more. We need Science Bob, we need more. Urgent. We are hooked on this. I'm now hooked on this. I sound like Kristen.
I've never sounded more like a tranny in my life. What's next?
We got more.
All right, we're fine.
Such an unnecessary comment. Like, it's like no one even found that funny. And who would find that funny? After facing backlash, he took to Twitter, which he's very big on Twitter, apparently, to truly apologize for saying that word. He said it's one of the most hurtful and dehumanizing slurs that the trans community can hear. So, yeah, shame on you, Neil. The way he apologized, too, truly sorry for saying the word slur on live TV this week twice. Explanation point, like he's happy about it. Should have been more thoughtful. Didn't mean to offend. But one thing that Neil Patrick Harris can do, he can offend somebody. Like when he called actor Jason Mewes, co-star of Kevin Smith's Jay and Silent Bob, a drugged out mess of a guy when asked about the film. This upset a lot of people. Actually, the director Kevin Smith later called him out saying, I mean, why say something like that? It's not true or respectful to a fellow performer. Dude essentially said that this guy isn't an actor. He replied on Twitter, of course, saying, I didn't realize the upset my words caused. Looking back on what you said, I concur. Ignorance on my part, apologies. He gives such like douchebag apologies. Like they're so not thought out. If ChatGPT was around back then I would assume that he just asked ChatGPT to do it. But this guy Jason, this fellow actor, he's had his issues with drugs and substances, and the fact that Neil would bring this up, it just again speaks to his character. He's so quick to low blow somebody.
I had stayed sober for like 4 years, and then I got kidney stones. And then they gave me Demerol. I was like, I don't want anything. I'm sober. I'm in the program. And they were like, yeah, but if you want to pass the kidney stone, you got to take it. And they gave me that shot.
Oh, kidney stones. Shout out to anyone who's had a kidney stone. It sounds so painful.
Man, and it was like brought back that beast. And I was like, oh, I forgot about this. This is great. You know what I mean? And the next thing you know, it was like, oh, I can handle it. And they gave me pills to go home with. And, you know, I was counting every 4 hours. And anyway, so then I relapsed for 2 years. And now I have 11 years. So.
In 2022, Neil Patrick Harris had a rough year because not only did people bring up the Amy Winehouse situation, but also his disgusting and inappropriate comments about Nick Jonas when he was a teen. Just when you didn't think he could get any more creepy, during a 2015 appearance on Our Girl, The Wendy Williams Show, Neil told the host that he had a crush on Nick before it was allowed, which he described as being a bit of a problem. A problem for you, Neil. Oh God, watch your kids out here. I'm just kidding about that. My opinion. Don't go and sue me. I'm not suggesting anything. I just think that's interesting it is a problem. I'm glad you recognize that. Nick was just 12 years old when he first found fame as the 1/3 of the Jonas Brothers. In 2005, he was 22 years old when Neil's interview was filmed, so at least he's of age here. Meanwhile, Neil was 42 when he made the controversial remarks while taking part in the show's Hot Seat Challenge when Wendy asked him who his celebrity crush is. He referenced his husband at one point, even saying David knows it, so I guess it's not a bad thing to say.
Besides your fabulous husband, David.
Dreamboat, yep.
Who's your celebrity crush?
Oh, David knows it, so I guess it's not a bad thing to say. Nick Jonas.
Okay, yeah,
I mean...
That's a good one, yeah.
He should have just stopped there.
And he was really good looking before it was kind of allowed to think he was good looking.
Right.
Which was a bit of a problem. You kind of had to wait till he turned to be,
Yes.
19 to 20. And then you're like, what is happening?
Okay.
Now you guys know we like to do our research on this channel, so this prompted me to another YouTube video. Don't we love YouTube videos? But this is an old entertainment clip I found. It's about a minute long, but the title is Neil Patrick Harris wants more shirtless pics of Nick Jonas. Let's take a look.
Twitter almost broke down when Nick Jonas posted a picture with no shirt on. We really loved it, and apparently Neil Patrick Harris did too. Nick posted this shot and wrote, "I never do this, but..." Okay, since maybe he never does it is why we were all caught so off guard. I mean, even Doogie Howser did a double take. Neil Patrick Harris writes, "The more shirtless selfies Nick Jonas posts, the better my day gets." And believe it or not, Nick actually replied to the How I Met Your Mother star, saying, "Ha, hope you're well." No thank you or anything like that? Come on, Nick, don't be rude.
Now you guys know how YouTube works because that video led me to this video. Nick Jonas asked about Neil Patrick Harris having a crush on him when he was just a teenager. Let's look at this.
Guys, hey, what do you think about Neil Patrick Harris having a crush on you when you were a teenager? Nick, any comments? Any comment about that? Thank you, Nick. Any comment, Nick?
So awkward. Now, when Neil said this on air, it didn't cause too much controversy. It was really in 2022 when there was this resurgence into looking into his past and his character, questioning what kind of man he is. The video was reshared on TikTok with the caption, "How do celebs get away with comments like this? He was 42. It didn't take long for TikTok to gain traction, with many people flocking to the comment section to share their shock at what Neil had said. One person writes, "That's disgusting," and one more person adds, "I love his characters, but him as a person, yikes." Another person writes, "Not surprised." One adds, "He literally threw a party and the main course was meant to be Amy Winehouse's dead body." Another person writes, "Between this and Amy Winehouse thing, I'm really starting to go off on Neil Patrick Harris." One person adds, "Remember shortly after Amy passed, he had this cake of her dead body? Why hasn't he been canceled yet?" Moving on to our next moment in 2014, Neil's shady side came out when he cussed out a fan who was expressing their love for him. In 2014, he was in the middle of his performance, a Broadway show, when a woman interrupted to yell, "I love you, Neil." And honestly, I feel like I understand why he's frustrated here because he's doing a performance. According to the Daily Mail, his reps clarified the actor's mid-performance outburst, saying he was responding to an audience member in character. So that's why he was cussing and called this woman a mother effer. That following year, there was another distasteful moment from Neil. Dana Perry was wearing a dress at the Oscars that Neil did not like. It was 2015, and she decided to dedicate her award to her son, who had recently taken his own life. In response, Neil said, "It takes a lot of balls to wear a dress like that. It didn't land well with some, but Dana said she thought it was fine."
That moment where he totally called out Dana Perry, one of the—
Wait, so random. Isn't that Rylan Adams, Shane Dawson's husband?
Winners for Best Short Subject Documentaries.
Takes a lot of balls to wear a dress like that.
But not to worry, apparently Dana took no offense and actually laughed it off by saying, quote, "That's adorable. I invite anyone to feel my furry balls."
Weird behavior. And it continues when Neil Patrick Harris jokes on whiteness of the Oscars. It left some viewers unsettled. A string of jokes about diversity at the Academy Awards and controversial nominee, American Sniper, made Neil Patrick Harris's first year hosting at the Oscars a controversial one. Neil began with a self-conscious joke that quickly won praise from critics and viewers on the lack of diversity, saying, "Tonight we celebrate Hollywood's best and whitest." Sorry, I mean brightest. But several other jokes directed at black actors in the audience, including Oprah, Octavia, David Oello, I actually don't know how to say his last name, Olo, fell flat and changed the tenor of the ceremony. At one point, Neil praises David, who plays Martin Luther King in the Oscar-nominated Selma, but was not himself nominated, and asked him to stand. After the audience applauded, Neil quipped, "Oh, sure, now you like him." Then Neil asked David to recite the punchline of a joke about a remake of Annie, starring Jamie Foxx and Quinn. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna butcher me with these names. Quinn Hayes. Wallace, without apparent consideration that it might be inappropriate to ask a black actor to mock a film with black stars at an event that is lacking diversity.
I took a couple minutes to see an eye, and then I took a couple minutes by myself to just kind of reflect. It's a big night, and I'm there's so many things that can go wrong in a
So many things that could go wrong.
hurdle race with this many laps, and so I'm glad that that most things went off in basically the right tone.
What was your favorite joke?
My favorite joke? I like the first joke, the best and the widest, brightest.
Yes, I like that one.
That was fun.
Probably the best one because everything else after that was so calculated towards race.
Right out the block.
It's fun because you're backstage and some of them are written. Oh, you know what I loved is when J.K. Simmons won, I got to say he won an Oscar.
Oh, that was great. That was great. That was fresh.
Happy.
That was great. That was
but those are kind of the kind of things when that happens, you go, oh, I have an idea, and then you run out there and do it.
You run it.
That woman with the dress filled with.
That was awesome.
That was hilarious.
That was fun.
It actually turns out that Neil's performance at the Oscars was one of the lowest rated in history, so I have a feeling he won't be back there anytime soon. But what surprised you in this video? What was your favorite controversial moment? That sounds kind of wrong, but which one really caught you by surprise? There's a few of them for me. I mean, everything from the friend, like, you know, not clapping to him, to the, I mean, of course, the Amy Winehouse thing, that is sick. The Nick Jonas saga is also just creepy. I'm sure Nick is creeped out. But let's go ahead and open this P.O. Box package item. It looks like it's from the Style Plug Nyla, and it feels very interesting. I don't know if there's like a lot of like packaging within this, but you guys know I have a P.O. Box, and if you guys ever want to send me anything, I've got it listed below. Oh, okay. We got something really wrapped. Oh, really wrapped. Okay, so we've got a note here. It says Sloan with a heart. I'm so excited. They write, "Hey Sloan, it's your style plug, Naila. I'm a closet organizer and sustainable wardrobe stylist based in LA County, curating new vintage and pre-loved pieces to keep everyone stylish and organized. Before diving in, I must give you your flowers. I admire your fearless investigative work and dedication to the truth. You tackle what so many people would shy away from, and your impact is invaluable. Thank you for being a genuine force." Thank you, Naila. I wanted to send you a little something to show my appreciation. I checked out your Instagram and curated 4 shirts with you in mind. These aren't exactly your usual style. I picked them to give you a chance to be something fun of new colors. I noticed you prefer form-fitting looks, so I included sizes small through large, vintage, and 2 pre-loved for you to explore. Also, for a special thank you for supporting small businesses with your subscribers, if you guys use code SLOAN, you can get 15% off their order through IG messages. It looks like their Instagram and everything is the Style Plug Nyla, or it looks like Nail. Here, I want to show you guys, but I'm sure one of our editors can put it on the screen. But thank you so much. Not to pressure you to do anything. I know you're just reading and opening this, but it means the world to me. Oh, thank you so much. I can't wait to wear this, and then I'm definitely going to tag you. This is so sweet. Thank you so much. And it looks like you have a loyalty program too, which I'm really excited because it looks like you're located in Los Angeles, and I need some help with my fashion because I'm over here wearing these gray shirts. But let's go ahead and take a look at what you sent to me. Oh my gosh, cute. So you've got this really bright, like, oh snap shirt in medium. Cute, very bright. Oh, this is giving gay pride. This is giving gay pride. Oh, cute. I like how it's like a shirt. Oh yeah, this is so cute. Oh, thank you. And I don't know what it says on the side. Proud, I guess. And then we've got a shirt here. I think this is a shirt. Yeah. Super cute. Love it. And then we've got a little vintage, little tie-dye. This is so LA. So LA. It looks so comfy too. Thank you so much, Nyla the plug. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching this video and being my community. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.